بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to start the 12th and final section of the book Bidayat Hikmah. And as I said before, this section and the previous section are very important. The one about knowledge we finished, alhamdulillah. This is فيما يتعلق بالواجب تعالى. This section is all about wajib al-wujud, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as necessary being. من إثبات ذاته, it's about proving his essence, means proving the existence of such wajib al-wujud بالذات. It's about صفاته, attributes of Allah, أفعاله, his actions, and it has 14 chapters. Great numbers, 12 and 14. Okay. الفصل الأول في إثبات ذاته تعالى. There are many arguments for existence of God in theology, in philosophy. Here we only have two arguments. But there are more. These are two arguments. One of them is based on reflection on the concept of wujud itself. According to some people, some philosophers, this is Burhan al-Siddiqin. This is the proof of the most truthful people. This is known as Siddiqin because they say they don't need to use anything in order to come to knowledge of God. They directly start with God and prove existence of God from reflection on the concept of wujud. There are different versions of this, but one version that we have here is as follows. Allama Tabatabai starts with something that we established earlier in the book. We said, as you remember, we said haqiqatul wujud, the reality of wujud, not concept of wujud, because we always made distinction between mafhumul wujud and haqiqatul wujud. Yeah, mafhumul wujud is in our mind. Haqiqatul wujud is the real existence. We said the real existence is asil. Remember, is primordial, and it is what is there. There is nothing also other than reality of existence. We said la thaniya lahu wa la ghayra lahu. There is no second for that and there is no other for that, because anything other than that would be non-existence. We have only one reality, which is existence. We cannot have something in addition to existence. Okay? Now, this existence sometimes is restricted to limited and finite beings which have mahiyya, for example, Zayd, Amr, back, tree, horse, donkey, flower, stone, water. These are limited and finite beings. But if you think of being as such, absolute, not limited being, that cannot have anything other than being itself. Can you say that doesn't exist? We don't have such a thing as being as such, or being in a simple and absolute way? No. Because all these limited and finite are like branches or manifestations or reflections or echo of that absolute. So there is such a thing as absolute being, and without that we have nothing. Absolute being has no second, has no other, and cannot be non-existent. If it was non-existent, means absolute existence is equal to non-existence. Absolute existence must exist. I personally sometimes use this analogy to make it more understandable. I say the relation between absolute being and limited beings is like the relation between absolute truth and items of truth. You know, we have millions of items of truth, yeah? For example, today is Wednesday. We are in London. We have a philosophy. There are many, many things, personal, interpersonal truths. But these are all branches or manifestations, or you can say instances of the whole truth. Can we have no whole or absolute truth while we have these things? It's impossible. Okay, so there is a thing like truth, which we may grasp 1% of it, 2% of it, in different encounters that we have with the world of realities. But there is something as whole truth or absolute truth. The same is with existence. We see limited beings, but all of them are manifestations of the absolute being that must exist. This is one argument. The second argument is based on reflection on mahiyat. Mahiyat are mumkin al-wujud. They are contingent, and for them to exist, they must become wajib. But how they become wajib? Because ash-shay'u ma lam yajib, lam yujad. Nothing becomes existent unless it has become necessary. But mahiyat are not necessary by themselves. They are not wajib al-wujud bil-zat. They are wajib al-wujud bil-ghayr. Means something else necessitates their existence. We shift the question to that thing which is their illah. What that exists? Why that exists? If that exists because of itself, so it's wajib al-wujud bil-zat. If not, it must be from something, a third thing. So either you accept finally that there is something that is existing because of itself, or you have to suffer vicious circle or endless regression. And both of them are not acceptable. You cannot say A is created by B, B by C, and then C by A. This is not possible. It's vicious circle. This is door. Or you say A by B, B by C, C by D, and you say this never stops. Okay, so then how this started? So you have to reach finally a point which is self-explanatory, self-subsistent, self-sufficient. Means wajib al-wujud bil-zat. So there are two arguments here. Let us now read and explain the text. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Al-Fasl al-Awwal fi Ithbat Dhatihi Ta'ala. First chapter on proving the essence of God. At the moment, we are not talking about his qualities or attributes. Inshallah, it comes in the second chapter. So just we want to prove that there is such a thing as wajibul wujud al-bizat. Haqiqatul wujud, wajibatul wujud. But then in brackets, he explains. Haqiqatul wujud, allati hiya asilatun, la asila dunaha. وصرفة لا يخالطها غيرها لبطلان الغير فلا ثاني لها كما تقدم في المرحلة الأولى واجبة الوجود. The reality of existence, which is primordial, there is nothing else which is primordial, and is serfa. Serfa means mahd. Bahd. Surf means simple, mere, means absolute. Haqiqatul wujud is just existence. Nothing is mixed with that, yeah? Because we don't have anything other than existence to mix with existence. You know, you can mix, for example, one chemical with another chemical. But what is other than existence that you want to mix with existence? لبطلان الغير, because there is no other than being is nothing. Nothing cannot be mixed with being. فلا ثانية لها, there is no second for حقيقة الوجود. And we discussed this in the first section of the book. The very first section of the book, when we talked about أحوال الوجود, we talked about this. If you want more exactly, chapter 7, first section, في أحكام الوجود السلبية, in some negational properties of wujud. One of them was that أن الوجود لا غير له. The second was أنه لا ثاني له. Okay, chapter 7 of first section. So, haqiqatul wujud, which is primordial and it's absolute and has no second or other, is wajibatul wujud, is necessary being. Why? Because everything must exist for itself. Everything must be what it is. Wujud must be wujud. Being must exist. You cannot say being is not existing. And it is impossible that its contradictory, option be true about it. White cannot be black. Black cannot be white. Wujud cannot be Adam. Adam cannot be wujud. So wujud must exist. Wujud cannot be ma'dum. Naqizuhu means its contradiction, its opposite, cannot be true about it. So you cannot say wujud is ma'dum. To say wujud is ma'dum is like say white is black or white is not white. So, haqiqatul wujud must exist. Question: is it بالذات or بالغير? ووجوبها إما بالذات أو بالغير. It must exist either by itself or by something else. But do we have anything else? He said there is no غير, so it must be by itself. Yeah? لكن كون وجوبها بالغير خلف means خلاف الفرق. To say that its necessity comes because of something other than wujud, it's khulf. Why? Because we said there is no غير. لا غير هناك ولا ثانية لها. There is no other, there is no second. So, حقيقة الوجود واجبة الوجود بالذات. Okay? It's necessary by itself. This is one argument. The second argument, حجة أخرى. الماهيات الممكنة المعلولة موجودة. Mahiyat, which are contingent and our effects are caused, they exist. Not every mahiyat, but these mahiyat which we are looking around that have been given existence, they exist. We see human beings, we see animals, birds, flowers, stone, they exist. فهي واجبة الوجود. So they must be necessary. Why? Because الشيء ما لم يجب لم يوجد. Because mahiyya is mutasawiyatun nisbah, has equal relation between wujud and adam. If it exists, so existence has become necessary. If it doesn't exist, adam has become necessary. Yeah. So it is either wajib bil ghair or mumtana' bil ghair. You remember we said we don't have mumkana bil ghair. Yeah, mumkana bil ghair we don't have, because mumkana bil dhat is either wajib bil ghair or mumtana' bil ghair. But we cannot have anything which ghair makes it mumkin. Okay? Because if it is wajib bil dhat, it remains wajib. If mumtana' bil dhat, it remains mumtana' bil dhat. If mumkana bil dhat, it's again remaining mumkana bil dhat. So, mahiyat which are contingent and are created or caused, they are wajibatul wujud, they are necessary, because ash-shay ma lam yajib lam yujad. Because anything unless becomes necessary does not come to existence. But the question is, what type of necessity is here? Here, wujubuha bil ghair. In mahiyat, its necessity comes from another thing, from illa. This is ma'lul, it comes from illa. إذ لو كان بالذات, if this necessity of being was coming from its own self, its own essence, then it didn't need illa. لم يحتاج إلى إلا. والعلة التي بها يجب وجودها موجودة واجبة. Okay, so ma'lul, mahiyya, which is ma'lul, is necessary because of illa. What about illa? That is also necessary. Why? Either because of itself, so we have wajibul wujud, or because of something else. Again, we shift the question to that something else. That has to be wajib. Is it wajib by itself or by something else? Finally, we should reach a point that is wajib by itself. وَالْعِلَّةُ الَّتِي بِهَا يَجِبُ وُجُودُهَا. The cause by which the existence of mahiyya becomes necessary exists, and it is necessary. So the illa is also wajib, because nothing exists unless it is wajib. But the question is, wujubuha imma bil-dhat or bil-ghayr. This illa is wajib, but its necessity is by itself or by something else. Wayantahi, it finally ends with al-wajib bil-dhat. We should reach a cause that exists necessarily because of itself. Why? لِاسْتِحَالَةِ الدَّوْرِ وَالتَّسَلْسُلِ. Because it's impossible to have dawr or tasalsul. Wish a circle is dawr. To say A is by B, B by C, C by D, for example, D again by by A. A is caused by B, B by C, C by D, then D by A. This is taqaddum shay ala nafsih. This is door. Or tasalsul, A by B, B by C, C by D, D by E, and you go endlessly. This is also not possible. If it never stops, then it never comes to existence. Okay, Alhamdulillah, we finished the first chapter. Let's go to the second chapter. After existence of wajibul wujud, the very first thing that we want to establish here is unity of God. Unity of God, as you know, is very, very fundamental. And maybe even in the Quran, more emphasis is put on unity of God than existence of God, because existence of God seems to be more self-evident, more obvious. Yeah. So although we have some verses in the Quran that prove existence of God, like أم خلقوا من غير شيء أم هم الخالقون أفي الله شك فاطر السماوات والأرض. There are some references to the existence of God, but much more is put, the emphasis is put on unity of God. Okay? And then other qualities, of course. Knowledge of God, power of God, mercy of God, justice of God, so on and so forth. So, this is not a surprise that Allama Tabatabai, after existence of God, starts with unity of God. الفصل الثاني في إثبات وحدانيته تعالى. Wahdaniya is more than wahda, because wahda has different types. Sometimes something is one numerically. You say one book, in contrast to 2 books, 3 books, 4 books. But when we say Allah is one, it's not numeric. Right? He's not one like one book, one human being. He is one, and no second can be conceived for God. Yeah? There is no possibility of second or third. And it has no parts, no partners. One argument is based on the fact that wajibul wujud is just being. If you remember in the past we had this sarfu shay la yatathanna wa la yatakarram. Anything, any concept, if it is taken in an absolute way, it cannot be repeated. You can have white paper, white dress, white, I don't know, wall, white car, but just white. Whiteness cannot be 2 or 3. Yeah? Unless you add something to it which brings distinction, you cannot think of second or third whiteness. Yeah? Sarfu shay la yatathanna wa la yatakarrar. Any concept in its absolute sense cannot be 2 or 3. Wujud is the same. Wajibul wujud is simply, absolutely being, not being of certain mahiyya, not being with certain borders or limits. Just being, without any limits, without any borders and boundaries. So how can then you say there are 2 of them? Me and you are different because we are limited. Yeah? Like, for example, on a map, you have different countries. Why? Because each country is defined by certain borders. But if there is the whole map, then there cannot be 2 of it or 3 of it. If there is no boundaries. The whole earth is one. Yes, we can have tens of countries. But if you remove borders and we look at it as one thing, it cannot be 2 or 3. Okay? So our limits multiply us. Remember this, okay? Our limits multiply us. The mental construct that we make, and also the reality of us is also limited. I am different from you because I have a limited self and you have a limited self, so we are different from each other. But if there was someone who was selfless, then he could be identified with all of us. Yeah? So, الفصل الثاني في إثبات وحدانيته تعالى, in proving unity of God the Almighty. كون واجب الوجود تعالى حقيقة الوجود الصرف التي لا ثانية لها. The fact that necessary being the Almighty is reality of existence which is absolute, has no second, يثبت, proves وحدانيته تعالى, proves its unity. But what type of unity? بالوحدة الحقة, real unity. What we mean by real unity? التي يستحيل معها فرض التكثر فيها, a kind of unity that you cannot think of multiplicity. As I said, it is not numeric. If you say, I have one car, okay, you have one car, but I can think of you having two cars, three cars. Yeah? But whiteness cannot be two. Wajibul wujud also cannot be two, cannot be three. It's impossible to be two or three. We cannot even think of two wajibul wujud because there is no limit, no border. So wahdat haqqi, the real unity, is the type of unity that it's impossible with it to suppose at-takathur, multiplicity in that unity. Why it's impossible to have second or third, anything more than one? إذ كل ما فرض ثانيا لها عاد أولا, because anything that we suppose as second would be the same as the first. What is the difference between the second and the third? You say their place is different, they have no place. You say the time is different, no time. Say size, shape, I don't know. What is different? There's nothing different. Okay? لعدم الميز. Means means distinction. In Arabic, not Farsi. In Farsi, means means desk. In Arabic, we said لا ميز في الأعدام من حيث العدم. Haji Sabzewari says there is no distinction in Adam, in Adam. Adam has no distinction. Unless you say Adamu Zayd, Adamu Amr, then they have distinction. But Adam as such has no distinction. Yeah? Anyway, if you imagine a second absolute being has no difference with the first one, بخلاف الوحدة العددية. وحدة حق is different from numeric unity. التي إذا فرز معها ثان عاد مع الأول اثنين. When it is numeric one, then you can imagine another one which becomes two. Yeah, the second with the first becomes two. Another one with the previous two becomes three. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? But 2 means 1 plus 1. But here we cannot think of another one so that they become 2. This is one argument. We have a second argument. We say, if suppose we had 2 wajibul wujud or more, لو كان هناك واجبان, if there were 2 wajibul wujud, فصاعدا or more. Okay. Just suppose. Then we say this is not possible. So this is Burhan Khulf. We say, okay, if this is not correct, we suppose it's opposite, but then we prove that the opposite cannot be true, so we have to accept the first one. If we had 2 or more wajibul wujud, then they must have something or some things in common and something or some things in, as distinction, separate, yeah? So you need ma bihil imtiyaz, ma bihil ishtirak. For example, you have two books. What does it mean? Means there is something common. At least one thing, maybe many things that are common. For example, they are physical objects. They are from paper. They have glue. They have binding. They have something printed. There are many things in common. At least one thing must be in common. And there are one or more things different. For example, the size is different. The subject is different. Or even if the subject, size, everything, at least numerically they are different. This is one reality here, another is next to it. So whenever there is kathra, there is ta'addud, there is multiplicity, it means that you have something in common and something separate, something distinctive. Question about wajibul wujud. Can we have something common and something different? We cannot have something different. Yeah? Because there is nothing else. And if you tell me these are two, I ask you why they are two. What has made them two? لو كان هناك واجبان فصاعدا. If there were two wajibul wujud or more, امتاز أحدهما من الآخر بعد اشتراكهما في وجوب الوجود. One of them would be made distinct from the other after sharing necessity of being. So اشتراكهما في وجوب الوجود means they share necessity of being, but they have also some distinctive features. So they have something in common, which is wujub al-wujud, and they must have something also separate. وَمَا بِهِ الْإِمْتِيَاز غَيْرُ مَا بِهِ الْإِشْتِرَاكِ بِالضَّرُورَةِ. And what is common and what makes them different should be separate. Yeah? Can you imagine the same thing that is common makes them separate? It's not possible. So, if they have something common and something exclusive, there are few problems. One problem is that we don't have anything else. Another problem is that this leads to them being compound, because they must be combination of two things at least. One thing in common, one thing exclusive. Yeah? But we know that wajib al-wujud is simple, is basit, has no parts. لازمه تركب ذاتهما مما به الاشتراك وما به الامتياز. This implies that their essence must be combined of what is common and what is exclusive. وَلَازِمُ التَّرَكُّبِ. And what to be a combined thing requires is faqr, haja, need. Any compound needs its parts. Yeah? You cannot have the compound unless you have all the parts. So, لَازِمُ التَّرَكُّبِ. The consequence, the implication of being compound is al-hajatu ila al-ajza, need for parts. And to have need for something, even if it is its own parts, means this is not wajib al-wujud, because wajib al-wujud must have no need, must not rely on anything else. Wahiya, hiya means what? Al-haja, need. Yeah. This haja, this need, tunafi al-wujub al-dhati, conflicts with essential necessity. الذي هو مناط الغنى الصرف. And this necessity of being is the criterion for absolute rich. Yeah, wajib wujud must be absolutely rich, means has no poverty, no need. If it was compound, it had needs. Okay? So, these are two arguments. Ibn Kamuna, who is known for his, some of his shubahat, some of the objections that he has made, has an objection on this proof, on this argument. He says, yes, you are right. If we had two or more wajibul wujud and they were compound from something which is common and something which is exclusive, we accept that this leads to this problem, that wajibul wujud becomes needy. But he says, I have another scenario. And that is to say, we have two, for example, wajibul wujud, and both of them are simple, but absolutely different from each other. Instead of saying they have something common and something exclusive, which leads to what? Tarakkub, to combination. He says, I say, why there cannot be two wajibul wujud which are 100% different? Okay? Nothing common between them. أورد ابن كمونة على هذه الحجة. Ibn Kamuna has made objection on this proof. Of course, this is attributed to him. This is attributed to him. God knows whether it's 100% from him or not. أنه, this is the objection. لما لا يجوز أن يكون هناك هويتان بسيطتان مجهولة الكون مختلفتان بتمام الماهية. Why it's not possible to have two realities which are simple and their essence are unknown, and they are different completely in their mahiyya. Yeah? So there is nothing common, 100% different. Because if you say 100% the same, then why there are two? If you say some different, some common, then it's tarkib. So he says 100% different. يكون كل منهما واجب الوجود بذاته. Each of these two is واجب الوجود بالذات. ويكون مفهوم الوجود منتزعا منهما. But we can abstract the concept of necessary being from them, not as essential, because if it was essential, means part of their essence becomes common. It's not like jins. It's ma'qul saniya falsafi. So it's not jins which is then part of the essence. Okay? So he wants to say we don't know the essence, there is nothing in common, and this concept is abstracted as ma'qul saniya falsafi. So it's not zati, it's arazi. Okay? Means accidentally, not essentially, is predicated. مَقُولًا عَلَيْهِمَا قَوْلًا عَرَزِيًا. For example, when you say 4 is even, is evenness jins or fast? No. Or when you say insan is mumkin jins or fast? No. It's not zati, it's arazi. You remember we said mafhum is either zati or arazi. Zati is jins fast, no. Arazi is araz lazim, araz khas. So, again I repeat, his point is this. He says, why we cannot have 2 or more? Suppose 2. 2 wajibul wujud which are 100% different in their essence. But still, we can have one common concept as ma'qul thani falsafi, which would be applied to them. Okay? Like, for example, Kam and Kaif. Both of them are aras. But is there anything common in their essence? No. Their essence, because these are ajnas aliyah, these are high categories, and they have nothing in common. Ujiba anhu. Now, this objection is responded, is refuted by this. That how can there be a common concept like wujubul wujud abstracted from two things which have nothing in common? How can this be? If they have nothing in common, so if there is no ma bihil ishtirak, then how can you take mafhum mushtarak, a common concept, from two things which have no commonality? It's not possible. أجيب عنه بأن فيه انتزاع مفهوم واحد من مصادق مختلفة بما هي مختلفة وهو غير جائز. This idea of Ibn Kamuna involves abstracting single concept from different instances insofar as they are different, not from a common point. Because you are not, according to him, you are not looking for anything common between them. This is impossible. From masadiq mukhtalifa bima hiya mukhtalifa, insofar as they are different, means you are not considering their commonalities. You are considering their distinctiveness. Then how can you take one concept which is common? Another problem. على أن فيه إثبات الماهية للواجب. The other problem is that you are supposing that wajib has mahiyya, has zat other than wujud. So it means that wajib has mahiyya. But we said wajib has no mahiyya. Mahiyya for wajib is in another sense. When we say al-haqqu mahiyyatuhu an-niyatu, this mahiyya means ma bihi shay huwa huwa. It doesn't mean mahiyya in the normal sense, which is hududul wujud. على أن فيه إثبات الماهية للواجب. Moreover, this is a second problem, that in this idea of Ibn Kamuna, there is this problem that it's proving mahiyya for wajib, while it has passed before this proof that mahiyya for God is his existence. He doesn't have mahiyya separate from existence. Yeah, al-haqqu mahiyatuhu an-niyatu, which means ma bihi shay huwa huwa. Wa fihi aydan. Another problem also is that in his argument, Ibn Kamuna argument, mahiyya is entitled for wujud. But we said mahiyya doesn't require wujud. Mahiyya is neutral. Mahiyya has nothing to do with wujud. Yeah, wujud is asil. Mahiyya's i'tibar means has equal relation to wujud and adam. ولا معنى لاقتضاء الاعتبار للأصيل. How can mahiyya, which is i'tibari, require something which is asil? Yeah, mahiyya cannot have any impact on wujud. Then two conclusions. Allama says, يتفرع على وحدانية. This is after the discussion about Ibn Kamuna finished. Two conclusions. One point which follows after you believe in wahdaniyya of Allah, one issue is this, that أن وجوده تعالى غير محدود بحد عدمي يوجب انسلابه عما وراءه. Existence of God is not limited by any negational definition or boundaries. So that you say God is not true about the other side. You cannot define or draw borders for God. Okay? So that you say God finishes here and is not true about beyond this. And salab comes from salb. Salb means to negate. So you cannot say God is negated from the other side or beyond this border. Number one. Number two. وَيَتَفَرَّعُ أَيْضًا أَنَّ ذَاتَهُ تَعَالَى بَسِيطَةٌ. Another thing which follows from unity of God in the sense that we explained is that His essence is simple. Basit. منفي عنها التركيب. There is no chance for combination. بأي وجه فرض. Any way you want to conceive, combination is wrong. Yeah? Any kind of, because tarkib can be khariji, like you mix two things, khariji, or can be tarkib of jins of fasl, or tarkib of wujud and mahiyya. None of these types of tarkibs can be true about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No way to think of salam, existential parts or essential parts or even parts which are i'tibari just by your analysis. Is it tarkibu بأي وجه فرض? Because combination in any way and any method which is supposed لا يتحقق, cannot happen إلا بأجزاء, unless there are parts. يتألف منها الكل, from those parts the whole is made. So you need parts and the whole is made of those parts. Any tarkib means you have a whole which is made from parts. ويتوقف تحققه تحقق الكل على تحقق الها, means أجزاء. Yeah, when there is tarkib means that whole depends on أجزاء, on parts. وهو الحاجة إليها. This means there must be need for the أجزاء, for parts. والحاجة تنافي الوجوب الذاتي. And need conflicts with essential necessity. Yeah, واجب الوجود بالذات cannot have any need, so cannot have any parts. Okay, so there is no border, no boundaries, and no parts. Okay, so Alhamdulillah, we finished chapter 2. Inshallah, we continue after break. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.